Last year I grafted 7 different peppers onto one pepper plant. That allowed me to harvest 8 different types of peppers off of one plant. In this video I'm going to talk about when I grafted them, how I grafted them, and then I'll show you the harvest. But first, let's take a look at the plant with the peppers on it. The pepper plant that I did the grafts on was a Sugar Rush Cream. The reason I chose this plant to receive the grafts is because it's a very large pepper plant. Here's a look at some of these Sugar Rush Cream peppers on the plant. The plant can grow up to 4 feet tall and about that wide. I have quite a few pieces of bamboo stuck in the ground so I could give each graft some extra support. But if you look at the base, you can see that it's just one plant. I originally did 8 grafts onto this plant, and 7 of them were successful. If all of them would have succeeded, we would have ended up with 9 different types of peppers on one plant. As we move around the plant, you can probably see the different types of peppers as we go. There are several different colors represented, and there's also one graft that is a different color of foliage. It's very dark purple. Normally you do grafts indoors where you can control the humidity and temperature. But I did these grafts outdoors when we had some cool, cloudy, rainy weather that was about 4 or 5 days in a row. It was even raining lightly when I did the grafts. When grafting indoors, I usually use a large plastic box as a humidity chamber. These are some tomatoes that I top grafted one year. The grafting technique that I used on our pepper plant outdoors is called Cleft Crafting. You start by cutting off a branch and then splitting it like you see here. Then you cut off the end of a branch from a pepper you want to graft onto it and scrape a little bit of skin off of each side of the stem. Then you take that pointed end and slip it down into the graft and then put on a grafting clip. The plant I grafted here is a tomato plant, but the technique works exactly the same for a pepper plant or an eggplant. The first pepper that I harvested was the Sugar Rush Cream. I would call it mildly hot when unripe and very much hotter when fully ripe. This plant produced dozens and dozens of peppers and would have produced more if I hadn't have did the grafts. Next on the list is Aji Rico. It's a mildly hot, good-tasting pepper that is a hybrid. It comes in about as hot as a jalapeno according to my taste buds. Aji Rico peppers are also a very productive pepper, and you can expect close to 100 peppers or more on one plant. This is an aji pepper called Aji Lemon Drop. It's very similar in appearance to aji pineapple, but they do taste different, and I think aji pineapple is quite a bit hotter than the lemon drops. These are green, but they turn bright yellow when fully ripe. The next pepper is very easy to find because the foliage is very dark purple. The peppers it produces are also dark purple, and I'm trying to stabilize this pepper right now. I have the F4 version growing indoors as I make this video. The 5th pepper that I'm harvesting is called Heritage Big Jim Chili Pepper. These grow very large and sometimes can get close to a foot long. Here's a look at some I grew a few years ago. They have about the same heat as a jalapeno, and they get hotter the longer they're on the plant. Number 6 on the list is Bueno Milada. This is a hot pepper that comes in about 30,000 to 50,000 on the Scoville scale. I've found it to be very productive, and it seems like the more you pick them, the more they produce. They're a very colorful pepper and start out purple and then go through several color changes on the way to red when fully ripe. Next is Cubanelle. It's a sweet pepper that's commonly used in Cuban, Puerto Rican, and Dominican cuisine. They're normally picked when green, but as you can see, they turn red when fully ripe. The single plant we had growing in our garden last year produced quite a few peppers. The last pepper that we're going to harvest from this plant is called shishito. Shishito peppers are often served as appetizers in restaurants. We like to heat them in a pan with some olive oil until they just blister, then we sprinkle a little salt on them. Even though they're a sweet pepper, you occasionally will get a randomly hot one, a little bit like pepper roulette. The grafted pepper plant really did produce a lot of peppers, and here's a look at a harvest in early November. Even though having all of the grafts on the mother plant kept it from producing as many peppers as it would have, it still produced a lot of peppers. And as you can see, these Sugar Rush creams filled up one basket and started filling another. We also grew one plant each of all of the grafts that I did on this pepper plant. And besides those, we also grew several other pepper types. I try to grow a few types of peppers every year that I've never grown before, and this year I'll be trying a few new ones. Here's a look at some of the different types of peppers that we grew last year. If you're wondering why I bothered to even do the grafts on this plant, it was mostly for my own entertainment. If you're looking for a practical reason to do these types of grafts, one reason to do them would be to have lots of different types of peppers in a small amount of space. If you've ever done any grafting outdoors and were successful, let us know about it down in the comments. I'd like to know how it worked out for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.